there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot.
Okay, gotta take off my little spy cam thing here. Once again, I am still at the office, as you can tell, because, again, just started a new job, so I'm doing a lot of catch-up. And what happens is sometimes during the day I get interrupted by LP stuff, and, even if nobody's really keeping track, it's very casual here, I always make up my time, because you do not defraud your employer. So, I am here at 9:18, where my workday's now almost finished. It normally would be at 5:30, but between the various things I had to take care of, I felt I needed to give my employer some extra time. So I figured I would do the stream from here. I want to put up comments. Again, I'm on my tiny little MacBook Air, so I wanted to address one of the comments here, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker of the Ducks. There's a couple people you'll see on Twitter today that are just quite obsessed with me, but they've been obsessed with me for some time. And one of them is the gentleman you mentioned. As far as I know, he is a U.S. citizen. I'm not trying to dox anybody, so I'm not saying his full name because you gave a Twitter name, but I know who it is. And I know what state he lives in, and I believe he used to be on the board. So unless he just recently moved, he is a U.S. citizen. But I could be, I haven't been stalking this guy like he's been stalking me. So maybe he moved. And yes, please feel free to troll him. I'm going to do a whole show on the subject matter because I want to show what hypocrites people are. But I need to order some props to do this. Another person who's using their real name, and they reveal a lot about themselves, so this would not be doxing, who, at least I think it's his real name. Oh, you're not a U.S. citizen. Okay, the gentleman you're speaking to, and I use the word gentleman very loosely, is a U.S. citizen. Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, please, Canadian trolling is one of the best kinds of trolling because no one ever expects the Canadian trolling. Another one is, I'm not going to give a last name because there's no reason. If you guys have seen the tweet, you'll know who I mean. It's a guy named Joshua. And they're just basically defaming me. And you know what? I don't believe in defamation laws. You don't own your reputation. You don't own what other people think of you. And if people are foolish enough to, and hello Anatoly, hello from Russia. If people are foolish enough to believe it and they don't look into themselves, there's really nothing you can do about that. People are going to say what they're going to say, and the way to combat it is through trolling, as you're doing, or just through the facts. And I realize what they're saying. Joshua, I had to block today. That other person that you were talking with, I blocked a long time ago. But it's funny how they can't stand being blocked. They just follow me all around, and I just have to serial block them. It's like, it's so funny. And you know I'm not into this whole white male privilege and all this, but they are. So I like putting their own standards back on them. Dude, I'm a woman. You're a white male of privilege. I've told you that I don't want to talk to you. Don't you think that's an abusive exercise of your white male privilege to harass a woman into conversation that she doesn't want to have? Now I'm being sarcastic for me because those aren't my standards. I think anyone can talk to anyone they want to. But that's their standards. However, I do think consent is also something that's important in a conversation. And after somebody has blocked you, to continue to seek them out other places and have a conversation they've already told you is unwelcome is a violation of consent. I'm not going to say it's force or anything stupid like that. Ooh, I still got spaghetti on my face. I ate dinner just a little while ago. I'm so sorry. I'm sloppy. But it is a violation of consent. So these two gentlemen do not, well, take it back. The one you're talking about, he hasn't bothered me in a while. But the one I was talking about obviously does not value women's consent unless it's women who have the same opinion as he does. Because it's, when somebody tells me they don't want to talk to me, I don't pursue them. It doesn't mean I won't talk about them on my own channels, but I don't follow them around and force a conversation. That just is such a sense of entitlement. That's pretty gross. But yeah, they're upset because I said a certain statement didn't belong in the platform, and it doesn't. I agree with the statement. This is what's funny. So Mr. Joshua declared me a racist because I don't think a virtue signaling statement about racism belongs in the platform. However, I do think it's perfectly appropriate for a resolution. And I would probably vote for the resolution. I'd have to see the wording. I agree with that platform statement. I just don't agree that's where it belongs. And it's been weaponized against people. And you want to know, nobody will care that already thinks what they want to think. But let me say this on the record. Libertarianism is not a complete moral system. It's only a system of justice, a political system of justice. I get my morality from my Christian faith. And you want to know what my Christian faith tells me? That every single human being is created in the image of God. And to be a racist is to spit at the image of God, to look God in his face and spit. That's how disgusting I view racism to be. But that doesn't mean statements like that belong in the platform. So those people who are calling me like racist and stuff like this, they don't know me for one thing. They have to ignore everything else I've ever said. They can never point to a single instance where I've ever said anything racist, because disagreeing about a platform statement where it belongs is not racism. And it's just truly gross. And you want to know what my Christian faith tells me about liars? They say that they are the children of the father of all lies. There's a list of things that God hates. And number one, I think, on that list is a lying tongue. And Libertarian Revolution, I'd agree with you. It's kind of like drunk driving. I don't believe in drunk driving laws. Does that mean I think people should drive drunk? No. I don't believe in drunk driving laws because I think we already have laws that adequately cover it under reckless driving. You don't need to have these subcategories. If a racist starts initiating violence against whatever, a racist, a sexist, whatever kind of bigot, against the violence against the people they hate, we already condemn violence. We're not thought police. You want to know what? If somebody kills somebody, are they any less dead if it was done because they didn't like the color of that person's skin, or because they thought, who is that? Son of Sam thought that his dog was talking to him. It doesn't. The person's still dead. It's the murder that matters. And we already condemn violence against people, all people. But me personally, as a Christian, I'm trying to think of the things I would think are worse than racism. And I would say sexual molestation of children. I probably would think that is worse than racism. And you can't do that without violating the NAP. But you can be a racist and never violate the NAP. Doesn't mean you're not a jerk. I think I already demonetized this video because you're not allowed to say the words child molestation, even when you're talking about actual pedophiles. So let me just forget about monetization. If you guys care about my monetization, super chats are welcome. You can be a libertarian asshole. If you're a racist, you're an asshole. But that doesn't mean you're not a libertarian. It just means you're a libertarian asshole. Like my pastor used to say, when an asshole becomes a Christian, they just become an asshole with the Bible. It doesn't automatically make them not an asshole. But you want to know what comes not very close second, but what is really high on my list of things that I hate is people diminishing the force of the word racism by throwing it at people who aren't racist. It's like the boy that cried wolf. All of a sudden, there will be a real racist and nobody will believe it. You're not doing people any favors with that. You're just being an asshole. And you're weaponizing the pain of other people so you can call people you don't like names. It's gross. So, I'm going to do a whole show, though, on some other hypocrisy. Y'all are going to love it. But anyone who wants to call me a racist, I got in trouble for doing this before, but I'm going to do it again. What are they going to do? Suspend me twice? Anyone who thinks I'm a racist can kiss my libertarian ass. That's what they can do. That is just such gross slander. And according to the LNC, slander is violence, and you just violated the NAP. I don't believe that, however. I do not believe that slander is violence. There are certain circumstances where slander can be fraudulent, and if it results in loss of property, I'm going to get into that into another show. But in general, people saying shitty things about other people on Twitter is not violence. It's just you being an asshole. But according to the LNC, those two gentlemen should be subject to expulsion proceedings from their state parties for slandering me. Now, I don't want that. But I'm saying according to the LNC, but no, they're hypocrites. They only have their favored targets. And we're going to be talking about the Libertarian Inquisition today. No one ever expects it, but actually this year, unfortunately, I don't think I can say that. I think we all expected the Libertarian Inquisition. Let me do my grifting before we start. Sorry, I need some Mountain Dew. I am so tired. There was a new t-shirt that I uploaded at my merch store. It says principle over decorum as a Statue of Liberty. And a listener that, when I don't have explicit permission to like name who did things for me, I just don't, I'm not giving them credit because I'm like a jerk. I like to have explicit permission, and I don't believe I have that from this individual, but it's a regular listener who designed it for me. So go to tinyurl.com/pink flame merch, but there's a lot of merchandise there. And this one, I drank that Mountain Dew too fast. This one, the principle over decorum, is also available in a poster. And I ordered the poster version for myself because I think that would make a pretty awesome poster. What other announcements do I have? Obviously, super chats are always welcome since I just demonetized this broadcast. Patrons, I'm more than over my goal for November, so that's why I'm not pushing it. But of course, it's always appreciated. But I'm more than made my goal. And, you know, see, if I was a real grifter, I wouldn't tell you that. I would be going, oh, I'm still $10 away. No, I'm not. I made my goal. I made my goal early this month. That's why I hardly have even mentioned it. What else? What else can I grift? Well, down below, there's my Amazon affiliate links. If you start any search from those affiliate links, even if you don't buy the product that's in the link, a cookie's on your system. You know, Amazon tracks your ass everywhere. And if you buy other qualifying products, even if it wasn't the one I linked to, I still get credit for it. It costs you nothing, and I get a commission. Now, it's not on everything, and you kind of don't know what, but what's the harm? If you're already shopping at Amazon, if you could start your search through one of my Amazon affiliate links, I would so appreciate it, because you're then helping this show without it costing you a thing. And to that, please share, please like, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I think that's it for the grifting for today. Oh, even if I forgot something, I'm done. This is my least favorite part of the program. So the Libertarian Inquisition, this wasn't a show I planned on doing. I planned on doing an entirely different show on history. I want to get away from this LNC crap, but they keep doing shitty things. I don't like this kind of content. It's necessary, but it's not the kind I enjoy doing. And it's not what I built my support base on, contrary to the accusations. Most of my support base comes from my history stuff. But they keep screwing up. So I am going to say it again. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm really tired, and I'm in a little bit of pain, so I'm going to be taking some pain medication in a minute. Kratom is what helps my pain. Anyone who doesn't know anything about Kratom, ask me. It's been a miracle for me. There's nothing worse than living in pain. And with the opioid crisis, doctors will not treat your pain anymore. And that's a whole other show of people. I'm not this bad, but did you know that there are cancer patients who have a cancer that they might recover from, but they live in daily fear that their pain medications will be cut off so that they have suicide kits at home so that they don't have to live in pain. This is happening in America because of your virtue signaling over the opioid crisis. It is so gross. When I learned that there are cancer patients that live like that, I don't think I could describe my outrage. So what did the LNC do now? This should be a relatively short show, but you know for me what that means. I don't think there's such a thing as a short show with me. It's still 20 minutes in on my intro. Okay, what the LNC did. and I got to give you the background. There's a policy manual. Oh, well, you guys know about the harassment policy manual provision because that's what they threw me out on, because they determined that political criticism of elected political officials is harassment. Yet, we tweet insults out at politicians all the time. But no, I guess it's because I'm a libertarian. Libertarians aren't allowed to criticize other libertarians even when they are corrupt. So, under the harassment policy, and I still want to show you that really funny tape they make us watch as an LNC member, and when I play you that tape, you'll then see that they totally misused the harassment policy, because the video is supposed to give you examples of what harassment is, and it's this really old-timey video of like a boss, you know, pinching his secretary's ass and trying to fondle her breasts and stuff like that. That's what that policy is for. Okay? Or saying, you'd be so much prettier if you wore shorter skirts. You know, just stuff like that. It's not criticism of the job that other LNC members are doing. They were corrupt before, but that is even more corrupt. So there's in that harassment policy manual, there's a stipulation that's never been enforced. It's been in there since 2000, so none of the current LNC is responsible for this. And it's never been enforced. And it's a section that says any agreement that National enters into with any affiliate must stipulate that the affiliate adopts the National Party's harassment policy. Talk about overreach. Isn't that crazy? But we've never enforced it. Most people didn't even really remember it was there. They remembered it was there when they were looking for something to persecute me for. And all of a sudden people started going, oh shit, we haven't been enforcing this. And I brought it up on the secret list and said, we need to delete this provision. We have no right to require affiliates. This is way beyond our authority. I'm going to give Tim Hagen some credit here, but just realize that the original idea came from me. Just like already against the next mandate, which the National Party does not give me credit for. And allegedly, the National Party believes in an intellectual property, so they should be giving me credit for it as the creator. Otherwise, according to them, they are misappropriating my property. Now, I don't believe in intellectual property. I just believe it's polite to give creators credit. But they believe in intellectual property. I'm just asking them to be polite and inform members that that was my creation. But they won't. And it just shows how gross that is. Anyway, and I won't get credit for pointing out this provision that's never been enforced and said that we need to delete this. They'll never say that came from me. But I am going to give Tim Hagen some credit now, because I'm no longer there to make this motion, because they fraudulently removed me, but they haven't, because I'm still the secretary whether they like it or not. So Tim Hagen asked for agenda time to delete that section of the policy manual. And though it wasn't his original idea, that took guts for Tim to say that. And let's stop a moment and give Tim a round of applause. Genuinely, I'm not being sarcastic. I don't care for Tim anymore. I think most of his votes stink. But in this, see, this is how you tell a person with integrity from people who don't. I always give credit where credit is due. For instance, in the Delaware situation, Susan Hogarth, who I can't stand, is absolutely right. Absolutely right. She does enough bad things. I don't need to deny her due credit. when she does something right. And I really appreciated the statement she said on the LNC list, and it actually like tugged at my heart when she said, because all of these dumb statements that are being made by LNC members, and when Susan said, if somehow you all still think that Will McVeigh followed proper procedure, I have failed the people of Delaware. And that tugged at my heart. But Susan, you didn't fail. They didn't read the material you gave them. You did everything you could. You're not the best debater. That's not a crime. However, if you didn't remove me, guess who could have explained how he didn't follow the rules? Because I happen to be pretty damn good at parliamentary stuff. But you removed me. I would have had your back, and I think we would have had a different result. So you didn't fail the people of Delaware in anything you said that night, or you did the best you could. You failed the people of Delaware by voting to suspend me because I could have helped you. That's where you failed. Mike Seebeck says LNC staff claims they were speaking out against COVID-19. Yeah, right. They were speaking out against COVID-19 in the same way Will McVeigh gave notice of that bylaw amendment. And anyone who knows how he did, you're going, yeah, that sounds about right. An occasional tweet here or there is not sufficient. And that wasn't staff. That was volunteers acting on their own. That wasn't the LNC. Most people don't know the LNC has, for all practical purposes, unless somebody complains about a mean tweet, zero oversight over social media. They don't control it. They don't dictate it. So for the LNC to take credit for something some volunteer took on themselves is pretty gross. Oh, we can go over those receipts on air, Mike. I brought out the receipts in the LNC meeting in December. I will not allow people to rewrite history. I will not allow it. I sure hope it wasn't Tyler that said that to you, Mike, because right now I have a really, really high opinion of Tyler. I hope it was somebody else that said that to you. Yeah, I know what you're saying, that it happened today. I get it. I'd like to see the receipts. But so what's going on now? So Tim made that motion to delete that provision. And guess what John Phillips said? Der Commissar Phillips. I want to show you. If I can, this MacBook's kind of slow. If I can't pull it up exactly, I'm confident that I can summarize it accurately. My computer, I'm not going to bother. It's just going to take too long and it's going to frustrate me. He said something, and this is very close to an exact quote. It's not an exact quote, but it's very close to an exact quote. He said, I'm sure you have good reasons, Mr. Hagan, but considering everything that has happened, I think we would want to strengthen that provision and requirement for the affiliates, not get rid of it. So, thank you, Mike. I'm not going to say that out loud on here. We'll talk. But I'm so grateful it wasn't Tyler. I don't like attacking staff. They're doing the LNC's marching orders, and the LNC is terrible bosses to have. I try to be chill about staff. And that's a particular staff member who's a really nice lady. But we'll talk later, sorry. So what John Phillips is saying in plain English is we need to start enforcing this. And not only do we need to start enforcing this, we need to make the language stronger. Now, what would enforcement look like? Well, it would mean before you can use the national CRM, which all of our membership dues pay for, and some states pay a service fee a month for, like Colorado, that unless you agreed to adopt the LNC's witch hunting words or violence policy, you don't get to use the CRM. It also means, you know, that whole joint membership program they instituted to make it easy for people to join both the state party, for ones that have memberships. For us, it would be just to donate to the state party and the national party. They wouldn't agree to put your link up on the website unless you agree to adopt their thought policing policy. They have no right to require that of affiliates. Talk about overstepping your bounds. And that's why it's never been enforced. Should have been deleted a long time ago, but, you know, it hadn't become an issue. But John Phillips, who the hell do you think you are? And John, I think you should read that policy really, really closely, because there's a couple things you're doing that, to use the Region 4 alternates language, are technical violations of that policy. I'm not going to say what it is, because I don't think you're doing anything wrong in that. But I also don't think words are violence. I also don't think, you know, I'm not going to get any more specific. You just read it knowing you just read it. You know me. You know what I might think. Just read it and realize, if you believe in that policy to the letter like you enforced against me, you and at least one other person need to resign now. Now, do I think you violated it? No. But I'm going to force you guys, and I don't mean force in the nap way. Let's put it this way. I'm going to insist that you live by your own rules that you set to railroad me. As I said on Twitter, consistency is a bitch. So, Ken Molman, bless him, said that he thought it was a violation of the bylaws, and I agree with him. But we'll see what happens. I can tell you, and I cannot speak for the Board of Colorado, but I am an officer on the Board of Colorado. If that isn't struck from the policy manual, and they try to make us sign that, we're withdrawing from. The reason we haven't withdrawn from the CRM so far, let me just be candid with you. You can watch any of the board meetings, and you'll see and Mike can testify, who's been the strongest opponent of removing ourselves from the CRM? Me. I've been the roadblock. I've defended the CRM. But if they try forcing this on us, I'm removing my opposition. And we'll probably, your number 8 state affiliate and birthplace of the Libertarian Party, will sever those ties. And we will also, as a natural consequence, stop paying $80 a month in support, because that money could be used here to not thought police people. And I guarantee you, we will not be the only state to take that position. We already were worried about our data. And now you're going to do this? David Aiken, if you're watching this video and you know I love you to death, I hope you understand now why I lost my ever-loving mind when you said we should be moving all of our emails to national server. I don't want them to have any control over us. They're tyrants. Maybe the next LNC will be better, We don't know that, but maybe they will be. But it's not even just about this LNC or the next LNC. It's about an LNC 10 years from now. You don't know. The states need to assert their power. But this is so gross. Did John Phillips ask his region about this? These regional representatives who aren't regional representatives? Why didn't they run for at-large? And then you got an at-large like Richard Longstreth, who said he made it a point to learn absolutely nothing about Delaware because, I don't know, he gave no because. He's an at-large. He's supposed to be representing Delaware. I want to do away with all the regional representative positions and just have at-larges. Because the regionals are not acting like regionals, and they haven't in a long, long, long time. What's the point? There's no point. So it's not working. They need to go. And I don't mean any specific person, because there's regionals I love. I hope those regionals would become at-larges. You know, like Rich Bowen or Dustin Nana. Like, I'm not speaking against them. I'm speaking against the regional structure. Because there's no way that John Phillips asked his region about his, we should enforce this more. Offer Nave, I promised you, I believe it was you I promised, I'm going to be doing a show on the various roles and the points and all of that. But these regionals do not consult their regions at all. And it's just so wrong. So, region reps don't help at convention. No, they really don't. They just don't. There's no point to them. In theory, they're a great idea. And I am going to toot my own horn here. That sounds filthy, doesn't it? I was a great Regional 1 representative. Any chair of any Region 1 state during that time, even if we didn't agree ideologically, none of them will trash me. They will all say that I can't pick constant phone calls with them. I didn't require them to write their report of their region. I got on the phone with them. I asked them what was going on, and I wrote the report. But ever since me, you want to know what these lazy-ass regionals do? I don't know about the other regions. I'm talking about Region 1 now. I don't know what they do. They write an email to state chair and go, write up a written narrative of what's going on in your region. How is that caring? I used to spend 3 hours on the phone sometimes. It would be between at least an hour up to 3 hours on the phone. And I had 9 states in my region. So that's nearly a full work week that I spent prior to writing my report, asking them what was going on in their region and learning the intricacies of their ballot access laws and what were the local issues in their state and what were the pending bills in their state. I wish I had a link here. There might be one on LPD that someone can grab. Someone should take a look at the regional reports I used to do when I had 9 states. My reports were at a minimum 100 pages long, filled with information. If Lucchini's report is 10 pages, we're lucky. And he expects the regional chair to write their portion of the report. That's why he doesn't know what his region wants. He never develops a relationship with the chairs. And I feel bad for Richard Longstreth for this, because Richard was the regional representative after me. But because he didn't like picking up the phone and doing that, when those regional chairs, who were the same ones, wanted something, do you think they got in touch with Richard? No. They refused to acknowledge like he was the Region 1 representative. They were so comfortable with me, they called me. And I said, don't be mad at me, Richard. It's not like I'm asking them to do this. But if there's one chair in particular who refused to deal with them, that chair, I'm not going to give any hint, said, I already have a relationship with you. You cannot be a regional representative unless you develop a close working relationship with the state chairs. And that is not sending them an email every quarter asking them to write a paragraph on what's going on in their state. I could sit here right now and explain to you the intricacies of Arizona's ballot access law, even though I've never been on the ballot access committee and I don't live in Arizona. Why do I know it? Because I was their representative. And you want to know what I did before every phone call? I had a Google alert for each of my states, but I would go to whatever their legislature website was before the phone call. I would research what bills were pending, so I would have meaningful questions to ask. I would go to their Secretary of State and check on their voter registrations, because a lot of them were based on percentages. And Arizona, it's by county. It's like there's a percentage you have to have, but it's not a percentage of the whole, using the whole state's registration. It's by county. So you know what I used to do, and Kielski, who was the chair at the time, will tell you I did this. I would look up each and every one of their counties and give him a report to help him on what counties were risking their ballot access. That's what a regional representative does. And my alternate was nowhere to be found. I had no help. And Lucchini's got help. He's got Alex, and he still doesn't do anything. There's no excuse. Region 1 is getting screwed. And some of these new chairs in Region 1 don't know they're getting screwed because they don't know what it's like to have a real regional representative. I did a damn good job. Anyway, hello, Julian. So that's my complaints on the regionals, but that's what's going on in the LNC right now. You all need to watch this discussion. John Phillips will probably back down. And people go, oh, well, why are you so, ass mad? He backed down. The fact that he felt comfortable saying that at all is just like Aaron Adams being comfortable saying, we need to come up with a new charter agreement. No, you have no authority to do that. Like the fact that they're even comfortable saying these, Arizona's a hot mess. You know that, Libertarian Revolution. They are a hot mess. Not the state party. That's not their fault. It's the laws. It's disgusting. And the way the state's trying to force them to allow independents into primary. It's gross. It's just gross. Read one of my old Region 1 reports and you tell me if I'm just being, if my self-praise is not warranted. I'm damn proud of the job I did as Region 1. I'm also damn proud of the job I did as secretary, too. I think one day we're going to go over my Region 1 report. I just want to do that just to show you by comparison how shitty Lucchini is. So John Phillips, I'm sure, will back down, like Aaron Adams backed down. But they shouldn't have had, it was a few years. It was during my term, Libertarian Revolution, that the law changed in Arizona. And I had to learn all about that strange structure. But the fact that they felt comfortable saying these really, really authoritarian statements to begin with, without fear of any kind of repercussion, because they do not think they're accountable to anybody. It's gross. So watch this thread. I am sure Phillips will back down. But it's going to be on the agenda at this LNC meeting. And I am going to be reporting from this LNC meeting. I'd like to be reporting live the way I did a couple days ago. But I can't think of any way that I could do that without being disruptive. I'm not going to be there to be disruptive. I'm never unprofessional at meetings. But I'm also thinking I don't need to see these people. So I'm thinking I might put some kind of microphone in the room, but sit outside the room. Put my camera in the room. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, but they do a YouTube feed too. So I could probably sit outside the room and do my live commentary because people really enjoyed that. I got so many views from that. Like, people liked the commentary to understand what's going on. But watch this LNC meeting. Because if that doesn't pass, this LNC is just bound and determined to destroy this party. Because the way things are going right now, we are heading towards a party split. And I know too many foolish people who say, good, we need to. And they don't realize we cannot survive that. Neither side could. And Libertarian Revolution says I should walk inside the room and confront them. That's a fantasy I have, of course, but I have the utmost respect for meetings and the proper behavior at meetings. Though I'm not on the LNC anymore, so it's relaxed a lot. Members are allowed to yell, and LNC members are supposed to shut up and take it, because that's what they signed up for. But that's just not me. I have a high respect for meetings. But during public comment, I mean, I have every right to get a little fiery, and I might. The one reason I might not is because Delaware's still an issue, and I don't want to harm them. I don't want them to take out anger at me on them. So I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I really don't. But I'm going to be there to at least report on it. Excuse me. I'm going to be there at least to report on it. So that's the Libertarian Inquisition that we're now facing. Speech codes and thought police. Liberty wept. As I said on Twitter today, if literal, I'm going to say something during public comments. I just don't know what route I'm going to take. I said on Twitter today, I regretted that an actual literal tarring and feathering would be a NAP violation, which it would be because it's unwanted bodily contact. Because if it weren't, I'd be buying 1 million chickens and plucking away right now to take a semi-truck full of feathers down there or up there. Boston would be up there. And honestly, I'm not going to organize anything like this, but this is perfectly libertarian. If someone else had time, I don't have an LNC secretary shirt, but I can have one made by then. I could wear my name badge. I keep expecting them to sue me. Or at least have Oliver Hall write me a letter. And I promise you, it'll be read live if he does. Because I'm not backing down. I am the secretary. They're the ones pretending, not me. No, I respect the delegates too much. And the delegates never intended for there not to be due process. Never. Their glasses, they're just tiny little glasses. I just love them. I don't know why, I just love them. I think they're adorable. So I think that's... Oh, what I was going to say. I really wish somebody would organize a sit-in protest of the LNC meeting. Peaceful. What kind? Can you imagine the optics of a bunch of libertarians went into that room and just sat down so that they couldn't conduct their meeting, didn't say a word, and that the LNC had to call the police to physically remove peaceful libertarian protesters? I really wish someone would organize that. I'd be willing to be arrested. Can you imagine? Just get 100 libertarians to go into that meeting room and just sit down. Not even say a word. Or do the typical protest thing, chain themselves to the table. Make the LNC call the police and have a wire bolt cutters to get us out of there. And just be quiet. No word violence, no actual violence. And let the world see the LNC call the police to have to physically lift up other libertarians who are peacefully protesting and bring them to jail. I will get arrested for that gladly. But I really don't have the bandwidth to organize it. But I'd be part of the protest. I'd chain myself to my seat that they illegitimately railroaded me out of and have them arrest me. Have them arrest me for going there to do my job. I've never been arrested in my life, but I'd be arrested for that. Let them call the goons. So if I gave any of you an idea, hit me up. Can't organize it. I've got just way too much on my plate, but you have my support. I'll advertise it, and I'm sure a lot of people will be wanting. Listen, the best thing we could do for this party is to stop this LNC from doing any more damage. It'd be like, you're preventing them from doing business. You mean like the 5 hours of wasted time they did the other night? They're not doing any business. They're useless. All they can do is harm. We'd be doing the party a favor to prevent that LNC meeting from happening. And for people to go, yeah, but they had to pay money for the room. Well, those of us who are willing to protest, I say we all be willing to chip in to pay for the room so that the National Party's not out any money. Because I think that would be a legitimate objection that they paid however much for $700 for the meeting room and they didn't get to use it. Fine. We get 100 protesters in there. We each contribute $8, $7, and pay for the room. $7 it would be. I'm not really thinking. That was like super easy math, but I wasn't really thinking. So that it doesn't cost the National Party a thing but their pride. They'd never expect that. And I bet your ass Whitney would call the police on us. But okay, just so you're aware, the National Party is trying to make the affiliates their bitches. But you want to know what? Colorado ain't National's bitch. And I hope your state won't be National's bitch either. Have a good night, everyone. I'm going to finish some things up. I mean, I'm officially not working right now, but I just want to clean up a little in here. Cleaning crew, they didn't want to interrupt me. So I'll catch you guys later. And hopefully the LNC won't say something stupid over the next few days so that we could start talking history again. But Mike and I still need to do a recap of the LNC meeting. And I'm going to do a show with D. Frank Robinson on the whole words are violence thing. But other than that, what I want to do is focus on libertarian education. I want to do a show on what the various roles of LNC members are, like what's at large and all that, because I've been asked to do that. I want to continue working on the California LP History Project I've been doing, the National History Project I've been doing, a lot of different things. I don't want to be talking about all of this, but I have to. I have to bring it to light. And I understand how it works because I worked in, listen, I've seen how the sausage is made. I don't recommend that you eat the sausage, because I've seen how it's made, and it's gross. Good night, everyone, and I have updated my closing sequence. Have an awesome night, everyone. If I can figure this out. Here we go.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians, or choose to be an accountant because it's